Hey guys, so in this video, I want to talk about something I hear a lot on calls and from my team, which arrests the development of many business owners. So they usually will say something like, I just need to do more research, or I'm just exploring, or I just need to talk to more people. I need to see what else is out there. Now, deep down, it's important to understand this usually comes from wanting to just make the right choice and go in the right direction, or that the direction that a person is considering to go in is the right one, it will work, which is a totally healthy way of going about doing business and looking at life in general. And I also want to make the right choice and have things pay off when I make decisions. But from my perspective on that, by the time you show up to a call with someone, you've already done a lot of research. You've already got a lot of information. You've probably been exploring already for some time. You might have watched, YouTube videos which give a million different takes on things, which isn't really concrete research because you end up with more questions than answers. You may have tried using ChatGPT, which only gives you information that you want to hear, not necessarily what you need to hear. So it's not really the best form of information. You may have been on other calls with other people or companies. And something that makes me really curious is when you have these calls, it's usually the same position you're left in after the call. You're typically in more or less the same situation. Nothing big has really changed, right? The reason for this is that the intention of every sales call for that client success person, that consultant or that sales rep taking the call, their purpose is pretty much to just have you buy. Now, ideally, they're wanting you to benefit as well from the arrangement, but being on the receiving end of over a dozen of these calls, I haven't always found that to be the case. The truth is, they're going to give you a talk on why their thing is the best and why it's the best thing for you, and then you'll leave in the same situation that you're currently in. So when someone says, I just need to do more research, or I'm just exploring, or I need to see what else is out there, I have something called a criteria for evaluating options to help with this. And I use this to evaluate all my most important decisions and the best investments that have had the highest payoff in my company's history. And so it really comes down to three important markers. And the first one is that you really need to consider the person's track record, the precision, and then the level of focus that they have on you. And those are really all you have to think about and consider. So it really comes down to these three criteria when you're thinking about working with someone to help you grow your business from a certain position to another level. So what has been their track record? So they will usually be below either 6 figures, 6 to 7 figures, or 7 to 8 figures. And I hope it's really obvious why this is so important. But what you want to really know is that companies at or below 6 figures, they likely won't have the experience enough, haven't replicated or repeated the act of generating client success enough times to be able to do so reliably for you and other people. So businesses at this level will still be getting inconsistent results in their business, so they can only do what they can do for themselves kind of thing. Now, the upside of that is they may have a great one-on-one level of support, done for you coaching style, but the downside is that their track record just simply isn't there and it's really short. So the things they do for you or the advice they give you one-to-one will have a much lower probability of working due to the limited knowledge base that they're operating on. So you got to think about it as the more experience a company has, the better their service delivery will be built out, the more success they've had, the more organized they're going to be. Someone at this level may not be as invested also as someone at the 7-figure level. For instance, they may have not been in the game as long, they may not have as big of a team relying on them, they may not have a strong reputation which they've really worked hard to build and uphold. So this is also why I don't suggest letting people working for free in your business or doing discount deals with other providers or performance-based work, because while this seems like a great deal because there's a minimum investment, the investment level from them just simply isn't there. And in many cases, in my experience, more damage and wasted time and resources usually comes more than anything good or worthwhile. Now, it's not that working with someone earlier in the process is the wrong move. It's just that someone earlier in the process may not be the best person to help you based on their track record just not being there. If someone is at 8 figures, you want to have direct access to the founder because he or she took the business from where you are now to where they are. They are the mastermind behind it all. So he or she should ideally be managing your account. And when companies get past the 8 figures mark, usually your contact to the founder is minimal, if at all. But what happens is when a company gets to that 8-figure mark, the founder tends to scale out of direct client management so that personalized touch points for the client cease to be there. And the focus commonly shifts toward profitability and scaling and less about individualized client success. It's not always the case, but it's been my observation to this point. So the clients just don't get those one-to-one touch points with the founder, which created a lot of the company's early client success wins. So I always hire companies in the kind of middle to higher range that have done multiple 7 figures in their business life. They've been there, they've done that, they know how to get success, they know how to get me to the next level, but they're still at a level where I can get direct access to the founder and the inner team, because when it comes down to it, everyone's business is built a little different. Everyone has a different operating style, different needs, wants. Some just need help on certain areas. And when a company gets too big, big, the delivery becomes more cookie cutter and group oriented, and a lot of time is spent on things that won't necessarily move the needle. There's nothing wrong with, group. However, especially for businesses below 50K per month, if there is not that one-to-one help regularly, people really tend to get lost in the process. They just don't get the support they want, and they don't get the help that they need in those crucial moments that could make all the difference. So that's why the position we are in is really good to provide that personalized support. I know it isn't the best way to be the most profitable, but it does help a lot with client success. Now, then we have precision. Have they had success in similar industries as you're looking for? A big cause of why I have a lot of people wanting to transition careers into coaching, a lot of people from the business to consumer niches, people that are just starting out, and people that are at the 0 to 100K between that, and a lot of people that are wanting to scale to 100K per month mark, is that I've transitioned careers successfully. I've run lifestyle and business to consumer offers, and I've also run business to business offers, and I've built my business past 100K per month with offers in all those industries, all right? So how you market to consumer clients wanting help with lifestyle is very different to how you market to help people grow their business, which is why I get a lot of career transition clients wanting to help in consumer niches and business niches, clients between the 0 to 100K per month mark. I've already done that, so people resonate with my approach in getting there. Now, while I've grown beyond that, many in the under and around 6-figure stage still put their trust in us. And then finally, it's the level of focus, right? So what degree of focus are you going to get? Are you going to get one-to-one with a dedicated person to help you implement? What you want in terms of level of focus is something called continuity. You know how when you go and see a doctor, you like to see the same doctor each time, especially with important issues? That's called continuity. What ends up happening in big programs with very small companies is you end up getting passed around with many different team members, and you get lots of mixed advice from many different people, which conflict and then stall progress. So are you going to get group calls? What kind of focus is there going to be on your results? So we've sold out offers to both consumers and businesses. We've scaled past 7 figures, and we have a one-on-one focus. So when you say I need to do more research, have more calls, watch more videos, you're not actually going to feel more confident. It makes sense then that the criteria on how to make these decisions are these 3 areas: track record, precision, and the level of focus, right? These are what need to really be there. And then on the call, actually asking yourself, do I feel like the product and the company is going to be enough to get me there and get me results? Hopefully that's a yes. Do I feel they have my best interests at heart? That's really important. So do I trust them? And then finally, do I feel that this is a financial fit based on where I'm at the moment? So do I have, or could I get access to the financial resources, right? And these are really what you need from your end. So product is the right fit, they have my best interests at heart, and then can I work it financially? So if you have the right answers to these questions, then it's very important not to overthink things. I was speaking to someone who had been researching for 5 years and was still at 0. So research and exploration can be an infinite stage. It can go for an infinite amount of time. There's no guarantee that a business will come out of that stage. So people can stay there forever. And in NLP, what I'm trained in, we call it a complex equivalence. It's saying, if I do X, then I'll have Y. If I do research, then I'll make a better decision. But more often that's a problem, because in the end, no decision is made, or it takes a very long time to make decisions for the business owner. So progress is stalled. Sometimes it's really just about feeling good enough with a decision and then just rolling with it and taking action in the process, which gives people the last 10 to 20% of confidence. I still go through these same obstacles I'm coaching you guys on. And I found when I'm coaching myself through this on a sales call and I'm not certain, or I feel like maybe I should wait, I try to take myself through this same process, because there have been times where I haven't used this framework and weeks and months have gone by and I haven't felt more certain and I haven't made a decision, which has been very, very frustrating. And really in the end, nobody can tell you what the right decision for you is, but you should have a criteria of some sort like this for making decisions if you do want to grow consistently. You just have to decide based off these criteria, yes or no. And if you're going to say no, that's absolutely okay, but just be 100% in your decision so you can move on. Thank you for watching till the end. I'll catch you guys in the next one.